Hope you're all well. This is my yen breakdown for the first week of December. So we're going to start off with GJ. In terms of sells, the first potential sell that I do have is this 50 fib plus week daily level. Now, for this trade, I would want a breach of the 38. If there is a pullback on the 38, it will lose its appeal on the 50. It's already a trade only valid with timing or alignment, so I would preferably just want a breach to then take the 61. If it does breach the 38 and there's alignment, then yeah, 50 is definitely worth a shot, and I'll show you which zones that I do have for a potential match. But if the 38 delivers and you wait for a breach for the 50, 61 is a solid trade because it also has the bigger 38, the 200 daily EMA break retest, but also this level break retest. So it's definitely one worth attempting. Now, if this 38 does deliver the move, there is a very weak level over here. I'm not interested in it one bit. I'd want a breach of the 50 to then increase the odds of the 61 delivering. So this is the second zone. There is the 100 daily EMA, which is probably going to come lower. I would want a breach of that EMA, preferably next to no reaction, to then increase the odds of this zone delivering. But this is a solid daily zone where profit taking is likely to occur, especially if there's no pullback in like this area. Past that, we've got this. This is a weak zone. It's a very weak level. You can't even see it on the daily, but on the lower time frame, you could kind of get away with a very weak break retest, very weak level over there. But it's also just has the big 61. Now, this isn't a 61 that I would use. It's pretty invalid, so I'm not interested really in this zone. It's one of them trades like this trade that I sent out over here. It wasn't one that I would take the trade, but it is a potential where price could stall or potentially reverse from, and it's there. I'm not going to take it, but I am going to see if it could provide insight into a potential match for any of the other yen pairs. Let's say if UJ or EJ are on a solid tech sell zone, then this could offer insight as to potential match for alignment. In terms of buys, so this 190 zone, annoyingly, it was a miss. Again, it's one of those things that maybe I could have taken the initiative to take it because it went off the third touch. It also went off the 0.2. If you notice, I always use 0.2s in all my trades over here, 0.8 and 0.2, sorry. Not always, actually. I didn't use it over there because it was with the EMA, but it's a trade which could have been taken with the 0.2 and the trend line touch, and it did make the move where there was alignment, lack of initiative, but it's just part of the game. It's not the market's fault. I'm not going to say, oh, the markets are tricky and it was a miss. I didn't capitalize on this trade is because I failed to take initiative and I failed to adapt. But this zone still can deliver. It's a solid fucking tech zone. If you plot the fibs, let's have a quick look if it's reacted. So yeah, so it's not even tagged the 61. Now this is a weaker fib as well, but you could say, yeah, so it's not even tagged both the fibs. And my entry now is on this wick. It covers the bottom wick. It's a potential only if there's alignment. And again, I will show you the trades shortly which could potentially align with this zone. But the last thing that I do want is to get caught against Monday momentum, especially if we do start to see risk off on the back of the Syrian civil war reigniting or resparking, whatever the fuck you want to say. But the escalation's there. If that sparks a risk off, then there will be safe haven flows into yen. So if yen gets stronger, the yen pairs fall because this is the quote currency. It's not at the start, it's the opposite. So the yen getting stronger will see downside on the yen pairs. And now, by the way, so yeah, it could potentially deliver, but yeah, so I don't want to get caught against potential momentum. So I will be careful of this trade if I do take it, and that is a big if. Now, past that, there is this break retest. Now, this zone is a bit of a sketchy one, if I'm being honest, because there isn't much of a clear zone within this whole area. There is at the bottom over here, so this is the zone at the bottom, but in between in this area, it's not the clearest, and I don't really like to force trades. Sometimes when there are times where it's not clear, you'll notice that at times, bro, there'll be some times where I'll just leave this whole place blank, and I'll be like, there can be a pullback anywhere within the zone. I can't clearly identify it, so I'm not going to force it, but there is a weak zone over here. If I was to pick a zone, it would be this one. So let's say if this does deliver on the way down, there's no reaction from this wick, then maybe it could deliver from this wick. Kind of still the break retest could apply. Now you could say the break retest has already occurred, but if you go onto the weekly time frame, it's the highs of this week. So it could offer, it could be one that can deliver. So this is only valid for me with timing or alignment for the time being. And then past that as well, this is another trade which would only be valid with timing or alignment. With these two zones, since they are sketchy for me, or since I'm not very confident in like their odds, or I just think they're a bit sketchy, so I will use them for potential alignment for the other yen pairs, because I think in terms of buys, UJ has much more clearer levels, and if they align, I'm much more comfortable taking UJ. Speaking of UJ, let's have a look at the potential zones for alignment. In terms of sells, it's the 38 plus key level plus 200 daily SMA retest. So if you plot the fib 38, key level, SMA retest, and the zone after that is the 61, and preferably you'd want a breach of the 50 to increase the odds of this zone delivering. Now remember, these are potential trades, but if they do align, I'm definitely taking GJ sells because they're clear as well, and I'm more comfortable taking GJ. It respects tech a bit more. But in terms of the buys, I'm more interested in taking, or more comfortable taking UJ buys and using GJ as alignment, because it is a bit um, messy, I guess, over here. It can be a bit inaccurate. So I'll just use these for alignment for the UJ buys. So in terms of the buys as well, the 190 zone, which I said that can still deliver, if UJ does align on this 50 fib plus week level, it could potentially deliver the move. But what I would want, this is the main zone that I am interested in on EJ, and I would want a breach of this week level on the way down. Now, this week level does have a very weak fib as well, which I'm just highlighting for the sake of it, I guess. But the big 50, so I would want a breach to, and I like this fib more as well. So I'd want a breach of that zone even after a pullback over here. So this pullback kind of reinforces the algo using this fib, and then the 61 plus key level. It's worth a shot, because imagine this is your first buy. If it gets breached, it's probably going to make the move from over here, because if that gets breached, the next clear or the next zone is down here. So you've got well over 200 pips, and if it is going to go lower, as long as it's not, you know, a big news driver like this, like the big yen carry trade situation, or like, you know, just a major driver, then there will be a pullback in this area. If it doesn't happen over here, which I don't really care if it does, I'll just increase the odds of it happening in one of the zones that I might potentially take. In terms of EJ, so Euro has been quite weak over the last week. So Euro has been weak last week, and the only zones, like I'll be forcing it if I said there were zones in between. Yeah, there's a wick over here. That doesn't mean it's a zone. For potential alignment, it's as simple as the lows. Yeah, you go a bit earlier, and preferably I'd want a breach to then increase the appeal at the bottom as well. But again, EURJPY is one of them ones I use for alignment only. I rarely trade it. And quickly for EJ sell case scenario potential alignment, I would, by the way, if you have a situation like this and you struggle to plot the fib, just go onto the weekly time frame. You plot the most recent one, so the fib for the last week's move down. I'm gonna make that purple. Oh, shit. And then you plot a slightly more significant fib, so this is another one. And the reason I plotted this one is this is where the move down started. You could plot the bigger one, but realistically these are the ones that I would use. And what you can see by plotting these two is that the 38 and 61 is within an area. Now because I'm using EJ for alignment, that potential alignment could, the pullback could begin on the 50 fib plus 160 psychological level, and this is where this key level starts. So because this is only for potential alignment, I know if EJ is within this box, it's within a zone to align, and if it does breach, then the next clear one I've got is this one. Past that is this break retest plus the EMAs.